Welcome to the Red Devils Advocate. This is the official podcast of the Miami Red Devils. I'm Adam. I'm joined as always by the president we all can agree on, President Carter. How we doing?
Not great. I mean, Inter Miami game was good. United, not so much.
G, longtime Manchester United supporter, Miami Red Devil, also joining us from Chicago O'Hare Airport. How we doing, G?
Terminal 1. I've been better. I
think Terminal is a good way to start that.
Yeah.
Terminal is a great way to start that.
Let's hope Manchester United isn't terminal with this diagnosis. We're going to get right into it. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 0. First reactions from the game, G. How do you feel about this one?
This is your boy. This is what your boy wanted. He's got a lot of questions, man. It's not looking good.
I assume you're talking about Erik Ten Hag. This is the...
Erik. This is your boy. This is your Ten Hag army and all that. But listen, I can't put it all on him. It's the same problems that they've had the last couple of years. They don't show up away from home. I don't know why. They're mentality monsters at home. And Ten Hag has kind of turned Old Trafford back into a fortress, as the analogy always goes. But when we don't score early, we fall apart. Anthony hits the bar or hits the post on that one shot, and we had no life. We were ran through the middle, out of place, out of position all over the fields, bad turnovers, just sloppy. We look tired, and we shouldn't be tired in this game.
I know, 2 games.
Yeah,
after 2 games in.
Well, we're like 10 games in, if you consider that crazy preseason that we had.
No, because preseason's there for a reason. Not everybody's playing 90s. We can't be like everybody. Like, okay, I'll give credit to Tottenham. The atmosphere seemed amazing. First home match under the new manager. We always seem to get a new manager bounce game played against us every single time. It almost did it for Wolves. It did against Tottenham. So it's not as bad as some people are making it on the internet, but it's definitely not good.
All right, Carter.
Need to turn it around ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Carter, we talked about this a little bit before. Erik Ten Hag goes with the exact same lineup that underperformed against Spurs, and that includes Rashford at the striker position and Garnacho at the left wing, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. Those are kind of the theoretical question marks. How do you feel about that lineup? How do you feel when you saw those guys coming out?
I didn't feel bad about Wan-Bissaka at all. I think he actually played pretty well this game, like he played last game. I think, again, he looks better going forward. Not as good as Dello, but, if he can do 80% more of a job, then I'm fine with it. And I like the way he looked. I said it when you interviewed me for the social media that it's like, I just don't like Rashford down the middle. And today or yesterday, it looked like he had more of a license to go out wide. He was coming more closer to Anthony, it seemed like. I
was gonna say, Carter, who also doesn't like Rashford down the middle? Rashford doesn't like Rashford down the middle.
I know. And it's annoying.
And he looks like it. He looks like he doesn't like being there.
Yeah, he doesn't get to influence the game there. We're not good at playing intricate things in the middle, and we haven't been good at that for a really long time. And we're good when the ball gets out to the wing, flying wingers doing flying winger things. But Anthony had that one, had the one off the post, but he didn't offer anything. I just want to see Rashford back on the left, and whatever else happens, I can deal with it. But Rashford needs to be back on the left. Also think that Casemiro looked total shit. He looked terrible.
Leggy.
Yeah. He looks really slow, which is pretty scary. So
he looks really slow, and also he's covering 100% of the field because Bruno and Mount are playing the same position.
So
we went from a double pivot of 6 to a double 8, which is a weird system. One of them has to sit. He hasn't figured out yet who it's going to be. Hopefully, the next game, we have some time before the next game. We'll figure that out. But
so I thought to that point, I thought that that certainly happened in the Wolves game. I thought this game, Mount was playing deeper most of the game, and it's hard to find. It's not. I shouldn't say it's hard to find. It's certainly like the bad taste in our mouth is there because we gave up 2 goals in the second half and didn't look great at all in the second half. But I thought we really dominated the first half, which obviously we don't get any consolation for, but we had tons of, like, Rashford had a clear header, like free header, missed the target. Bruno had a free header, missed the target. Antony had a couple shots, one hit the woodwork, didn't put anything on goal. Garnacho had a weak one on goal. Rashford had one off the right that I'm remembering, that with his left foot when the keeper came out. And then we have to talk about it. In the first half, Garnacho had a shot from probably 18 yards out, or like right at the edge of the 18-yard box. It looked like a penalty on first viewing, and then on replay it looked like a penalty. VAR checked it and they said no penalty. It looked like a clear handball from the Tottenham defender. G, do you think that should have been a penalty?
I don't know what handball is anymore. It changes. It's incredible. I think, honestly, this is my honest opinion, it's a penalty if they didn't have that controversy last week with Onana. I think 100% that factored into it. It's harsh because it was close at him, but the ruling now is if you're in a natural position, it's a penalty. So that's
and I agree usually with like how they call like the tight, like the close proximity things, but that rule is for like, yeah, he's got his arms out, and that rule is so basically so that people can't stand still and flick the ball up at your hand and like get a penalty out of that. That's mostly why it's there. I can't see how that applies to stretch arms out. I've seen a bunch of people get called for that. It's like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I thought it was a clear as day penalty. We thought it in the bar. I want to hear what Bruno Fernandes had to say about it after the match.
I have to ask about the penalty on the handball on Romero. It wasn't given. What was the reason that the referee given you that it wasn't given?
You have to ask him. They have to start making interviews also after the games, and so they can explain themselves. It's a clear penalty. No excuses for not seeing. No excuses for the VAR to not see that. Last week they make a big thing on United not having a penalty against. I want to see what's going to happen this week. If it's going to happen the same show that they did last week. I want to see if John Moss also comes to apologize to our dressing room, like they said that they did to the manager of Wolves. I hope he's here and he can come.
Wrong words.
I like that. Yeah.
I like to see if John Moss would come down. I obviously really like that, but
I think it's great, and it's like kind of true. I like, we talked about it last week. I can't believe they did that. Like whether the penalty was given, I thought it was a penalty, but I thought this one was worse, this handball penalty. And I'm talking about the Wolves Onana potential foul. I thought that was a penalty, but the fact that PGMOL and John Moss came out and said that they apologized to Wolves, I thought that was complete BS. This one was worse, and of course we're not going to get an apology from anyone. Bruno's going to be sitting there waiting in the dressing room for a long time.
Well, it's the thing where that Onana play happens once a week in a random match, but no one cares about it because it's not involving Manchester United.
Absolutely.
And it's not prime time, only match of the day. So, it's Bruno, great work from the captain. The problem with Bruno being the captain is he's a little bit of a boy who cried wolf on the fields, where he complains about everything, so people lose sympathy for him. But he's 100% right about this. And that's exactly the type of leadership you want to see after the match. Now we need some leaders on the fields during the match. But great work from him. We're not going to get any resolution from the referees. They don't care about us, but it is what it is.
All right. So I think that we all agree the biggest issue with Manchester United, it's the midfield situation. Casemiro looking kind of bad. Do we think that we can get some shoring up of the midfield with the limited time? We've got 11 days left in the transfer window. So do we think between now and then we're linked to Amrabat in midfield, the Fiorentinian midfielder? We're linked to a couple center backs and Pavard right back / center back. Do we think that we get some shoring up of our team between now and September 1st? Carter, why don't you take this one?
No, I don't. I want it. I would like Amrabat. I'm at the point where I'm playing like FIFA in my head. I'm like, all right, what are all the positions that these people like? Move Martinez up to defensive midfielder, slot in Lindelof, and like just give maybe he needs a game, maybe he needs some pressure, something. It's going to be that thing where we're going to have to start playing, like just moving pieces around with players that don't really. I mean, Martinez did play a lot of defensive midfielder, like he's capable of it, but we'd rather just have him at center back, and it's like, do we want to see McTominay play like defensive mid? No, I do not want to see McTominay play defensive mid. I'd like to see him play center back more than I'd like to see him play defensive mid because he seems more capable of that when he plays for Scotland. But like, I'd rather have Amrabat, or I know he just signed, like Tyler Adams is at least like, you can justify him sitting on the bench behind Casemiro and he's capable. Like, I don't understand why that. Maybe it's because he's American and we don't really like Americans, like, and it's.
G likes Americans. Really... Well, it depends on the American, I guess. Yeah, no, that's
it's true. Like I don't trust our people to get this done. No way do I. Why would any of us trust these people to get this done? Like, we've had a few good signings, one of which hasn't touched the field yet because that's us. But like, it's just infuriating. Like, and I do not think that we get anything over the line and put any pressure or shore up at the team at all.
D.
So you kind of touched on it right there. The midfield is a problem. Do not get me wrong, but I think it's looks worse than it actually is because we have absolutely no hold-up play. So the ball goes forward, we lose it immediately. The midfield tries to come up and support. They're overrun. Everybody's out of position. Transition back. We're getting killed on the counter. Teams aren't possessing us to death so far. We'll see if that continues. But if you get a forward who can hold up the play, you get Rashford back on the wing, who makes better decisions than Garnacho does, respectfully, because I love my little Argentine. I think the midfield in term is not overexposed and looks better. So honestly, this is going to shock all of you and all of you listening. Martial should have came into that game earlier. It was clear. So it was clear that Rashford didn't want to be down the middle. If he's healthy enough to be on the bench, give him 30 minutes and see what happens. Let Rashford go to his preferred position. Martial is bad at a lot of things, but one thing he's very good at is holding up play and linking players. Him and Sancho have a good thing going. We'll see. Like, if Højlund's not ready, use the players that we have. Help your team. The subs are coming a little bit too late for my liking, but no, I don't think we're getting to sign anybody to answer the actual question.
Yeah.
Carter said it perfectly.
Yeah, I think that Manchester United has had a really bad couple weeks. I think there was a lot of good momentum and then mixed momentum during the preseason schedule, just because of the fixture congestion in the preseason schedule, and the traveling. So, but I thought that Onana was a great signing. I'm reserving judgment on Mason Mount, but I was, when we signed him, I was trending towards good, and I still think he's going to come good. I like Rasmus Højlund. Then everything started going bad right after the Rasmus Højlund transfer fee was settled. It started with basically Rasmus Højlund being injured, something popping on his MRI that was a predicate for stress fractures in young people, something. And so he hasn't seen the pitch yet. Manchester United completely dealt with this Mason Greenwood thing that they have been trying to deal with for 18 months in kind of the worst way possible. I'll do just like,
I think that's what we can agree on, like, regardless of what any of us think about what happened or the stuff that we don't know. I think that we can agree that the club did like a weird, bad job at handling it for everyone, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
We got to shout out The Athletic for the good reporting as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Adam Crafton at The Athletic, like, really did well. And you see, so I'll just try and lay this out briefly. What happened about 18 months ago, a young star for Manchester United, Mason Greenwood, right wing kind of striker, attacking player. His girlfriend on social media posted that essentially, this is what Mason really does to me. Posted pictures of bruises and herself bleeding from the mouth and audio of him being sexually violent towards her. He was charged with attempted rape, coercive conduct, assault, essentially all things that seemed based on the audio and the photos we saw. The charges were later dropped. The Crown Prosecution Service said that it was due to withdrawing of cooperation of witnesses and new material that came to light. That was the statement that they said. Manchester United did their own investigation on what to do with him. He's still on contract for Manchester United. Although he was charged, the charges were dropped. He hasn't been formally convicted of anything. And then it appeared that Manchester United were going to bring him back and were trying to figure out a way to roll out Mason Greenwood coming back. Adam Crafton, who you shouted out, G, came out with the story. He actually went to the club and said, I've got this story that you guys are about to roll out this Mason Greenwood thing. Do you want to comment on it? They asked to push back the comment, their time to comment. And in the meantime, they put together a statement saying, basically, we're still assessing options, basically trying to undermine Adam Crafton's story at The Athletic. Huge fan reaction has happened since then from everywhere, basically saying that we heard the sexually violent audio, we saw the pictures, we don't want him back at our club. And I should say, in the meantime, the victim has since, I think, married Mason Greenwood, and they have a new child together. So it's really complicated, but I think we all agree, G, that the club handled this as kind of poorly and incompetently as you could imagine. And it kind of is coming at like a really bad time also, as the club is trying to figure out what to do with the future of the club.
They've had months and months and months of time to do something, make a resolution either way, and it's just the incompetence at every level. It just never ceases to amaze me. Richard Arnold has been doing a good job otherwise of handling most things that's come on his plate, but this is just, it's bad. It's all around bad. The statement after getting the story prompted to them, bad, all bad. There's nothing good here. Nothing good. So I don't know where we go from here on the situation. But yes, all this distraction and 100% affecting the players, no matter what they may say or may not say, whatever the coach says, it 100% distracts the players.
Carter?
Yeah, I agree about distracting the players. I mean, somebody posted like the likes on his last, on Greenwood's last post, and it's like, it's not everybody, but it's like Van de Beek and Fernandez and like a few other players, but not everybody. I mean, when it happened, David De Gea unfollowed Mason Greenwood on Instagram in like milliseconds from like the post. It was like immediate. He stopped following him, which when I saw that, I was like, does Mason Greenwood come into practice talking about, it's all hypothetical, but I was like, does he come in and say stuff? And then De Gea goes, oh, some of that stuff was kind of real, but I can't imagine that the players don't have an opinion on it. I mean, as much as like they're not always the most complex people, they probably have an opinion on it one way or the other, and that can't be 100% the same for every player. And we've seen that before. I'm thinking of a very specific thing in my head from our dressing room, where it was like a split dressing room on like a very important thing and a very serious thing. But I can't imagine that this is all going to be good for, team cohesion and being able to focus on the game and all that. So I agree with G.
Absolutely not. And so it does appear at this point that the plans to bring back Mason Greenwood have stalled to the point where they're probably not going to happen. I should say that's also true for the takeover, the potential takeover from either Qatar or Ineos.
That's thought you had escaped the topic.
Yeah. So
listener,
that's probably not. I'll just say that seems like it's probably not going to happen either. That we're in for at least another year of Glazer ownership. So take that for what you will. I guess the one thing that I do want to talk about that outside of all this horror is the fact that we can't score goals, and we've touched on this. We've talked about shoring up the midfield, shoring up defense, but we are putting all of our eggs in the basket of a 20-year-old striker that is hurt and had 9 goals in Serie A, I think four more goals in other competitions all of last season. He wasn't a regular starter. I'm bullish on Rasmus Højlund, or at least I would be if we saw him play at all. So Carter, I guess I'll ask G. You're gonna have to board soon. I'm imagining. Do you think that obviously there's a little bit of time. Do you think that another striking option should be a priority? And I'll ask you another question, a follow-up question on that. Do we have to keep Martial at the club? There's been chatter about Saudi Arabia or I think West Ham also for him. Do you think at this point, as our resident Martial hater, that because we're so light in the striker department and we can't score goals, we need to hang on to Anthony Martial?
So yeah, that's multi-question and multifaceted answer. One, I think the previous topic and this topic are related, which is an issue in and of itself.
Right.
Because Mason Greenwood, whatever his character issue, was a very prolific young striker. And I think some of the thinking behind not getting another forward is, okay, he's coming back. Eventually, he'll help. That's an issue. Martial, I see as one of these guys like Harry Maguire that would rather sit and be miserable on your team than have ambition and go somewhere else and play. So even if like Saudi comes in for him, unless the fee's ridiculous, I think he's going to stay regardless. And listen, if what we're not doing right now is working, then play him. He's on our team. Play him, whatever. But I think the young Danish boy has a lot of issues with his back already. I don't want to put the future of scoring goals on his back too, but I think for most positions are tough to come into a new league, but striker seems to be the easiest because it's get the ball in the box, put it in the net. It kind of translates a little bit easier than a lot of other positions. So I have faith, I have confidence that he'll hit the ground running. When he hits the ground, we'll see. But I think it will be good. But yes, some backup is needed, whether it's on our roster or from a signing. But like we said, we don't think there's going to be any more incomings.
Yeah. All right. So I want to do a quick preview of the next match. We play Nottingham Forest next week on Saturday. I think we play them at the normal 10 a.m. slot on Saturday, 3 o'clock in England, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We dominated Nottingham Forest like 9 times last season, just ran through them. We played him in a two-leg Carabao Cup tie, dominated both. I think we dominated both times in the Premier League. They lost to Arsenal week 1, and then they beat newly promoted Sheffield United. But we're back at home. Does Nottingham Forest, despite all of the stuff that's going on, the Greenwood situation, the lack of a striker, lack of goals, already we're into like VAR BS. Carter, do you think that any of this poses a problem to us doing what we normally do against Nottingham Forest and running through them?
Yeah, I think that they're all going to start feeling the pressure, and that's never good for attacking players. They're going to second guess. They're not just going to strike the ball. They're going to, they do the Sancho thing where they play around in the box a little bit more. I last week was the first time I correctly called a loss, right? Like ever. I think it's a 1-1 draw. I think I don't know. After the Wolves game, I was like, if that's what we're going to look like with no changes at all, then we're screwed. And I don't know. The Ten Hag thing with not changing the lineup, I remember last year, I was pretty happy with after the 7-0 drumming that he was like, go out there and fix your mistake. Like that was I think that was really good. A 1-0 win at Wolves, I don't think is quite the same thing mentally for them. So I don't know if I see it as the same. If the lineup doesn't change, I mean, it's like I think that we get that nothing, we don't look good. So, I think it's a 1-1 draw. I think that Forest doesn't look that bad. So, I don't know. I have no reason to think that we're going to play better than we have been playing.
Yeah, we talked about it at the outset. that Erik ten Hag seems like he made a mistake with the selection in week 1, and he's making a mistake keeping Rashford up the middle at Tottenham. We had like kind of clear opportunities that he seemed uncomfortable with, and therefore we couldn't put anything past their keeper. Do you think that he's gonna, like Carter said, he's gonna trot out that same lineup again at against Nottingham Forest on the weekend?
Well, it's 2 parts. So yeah, I think I understood what he was doing the second game using the same lineup. And I said it, and then you broke it down perfectly. We had chances to score. So like it wasn't a disaster, especially in that first half. So he would have looked like a genius if
any of those
if Marcus Rashford knew how to do a header, or
Bruno.
If Anthony stepped 1 step to the right, or if Bruno knew how to do it. Bruno's usually better in the air, but that one looked like it shocked him. So
he was. Did you see him looking at the linesman, just hoping that he was offside?
Oh yeah, that's typical forward behavior.
I mean, I would have done that too. Yeah, like, please be offside. Please be offside.
Yeah, it's either that or you pretend to be hurt for 30 seconds. Those are the two.
He didn't do that, thankfully. He did that later.
Yeah. He did that later.
Yeah, and earlier, I think.
Yeah, and throughout.
Yeah.
No, if he does the same lineup, I won't be that bothered, because Nottingham Forest is a little bit more of a known entity, whereas that Wolves team was kind of, we had no idea what they were going to be, new manager, no nothing. We kind of know the style of Nottingham Forest, same as last season. At home, the crowd will be behind them, so I don't mind it. I do think you'll start Sancho over Garnacho. Garnacho's looks weak. I don't know how else to say it. Like, he gets bullied off the ball a little bit too much, and he might just be better right now as an impact sub. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. The impact. Then, we talked about the impact sub. I've really enjoyed. They've kind of pushed everything to the right, and then he's wide open on the left wing, and then Onana pings balls, like huge, like cross pitch balls to Garnacho on the turn. We just like didn't convert them into goals, but I love having him out there. But yeah, maybe 30 minutes at the end of the game is when he can make an impact, and not from minute 1.
I was going to say, I just think that's the most likely of substitutions. I don't think he thinks Martial is good enough to start, or else he would have started him or brought him in earlier. So if all players are available as they were last week, I think it's either the same lineup or they bring in Sancho. And we just got to play better. I was on Ten Hag earlier, but honestly, it's the same players for the last 5 years with 3 different managers not showing up away from home. So let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly about last season, we beat them 3-0 at home in the Premier League. We beat them 3-0 away in the EFL Cup. We then beat them 2-0 at home in the EFL Cup, and then we beat them 2-0 away. And for us,
we have a good record against them.
Yeah, for us, that's 8 goals, because we didn't score 4 goals all season in a game last season. So yeah, they do. Are we thinking that we might see an old friend with a great song, Anthony Elanga, at starting for Forest? He hasn't started yet.
I was about to say they haven't started him, but every time he comes on, he looks good. He got the assist in the first game.
Yeah, that first assist was awesome. He did really well when he came on.
Yeah,
I'll sing it at the bar when he comes in.
It's a great song. One of my buddies, Saul, was asking me if it's like kosher to sing songs after they leave, and I kind of told him like it kind of depends on the player. Like
depends on the breakup.
Yeah, it depends on the breakup. So Ronaldo's song was immediately scrapped because Garnacho like stole the song off.
Repurpose. Repurpose.
He stole the song and should have stolen the shirt right off Ronaldo's back. So we sing Viva Garnacho instead of Viva Ronaldo. Are there other songs that you guys think of from the past that you like wish were still in the repertoire? G, do you have any old songs that
Zlatan Ibrahimovic has the greatest chant I've ever heard in my entire life?
Let's hear it.
I know he was.
You have to do it in the terminal.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he is a Swedish hero. On a free from PSG, he costs us freaking 0. 6'5", hard as fuck. He gets the Reds excited. Take that city up your ass because we are Man United, something like that.
I think that's right.
I forget the last part. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
6 foot hard as fuck. Oh, I love him. I love him.
And Zlatan's great. Yeah. Looking at his old perfect stuff. Yeah. He was just like a specimen. Carter, you got an old song that you wish was still in the repertoire?
I mean, besides the De Gea song that we use for the post now, I don't really have one. I think that the Solskjaer songs.
Yeah.
I know there's the player one which you can always sing because he's a legend. But I like
Always at the Wheel.
Yeah, I really like that.
So there's you are my Solskjaer, my only Solskjaer.
That includes Sanchez
and Fred, right?
Yeah, and
Fred is okay. Sanchez.
Yeah.
Well, you could switch it to Sancho instead of Sanchez.
Yeah.
But that's still.
Yeah. And then it's the only one that we have that has Rashford in it, basically. Yeah. So it's Rashford. We don't really sing. I mean, I'm sure people have them, but we don't really sing one.
So there's a Rashford song that feels very ponderous that I've heard, and I've tried to like Manchester, Rashford is red, and I just like find it just like not a good song. So I don't advocate for singing it. The one that I love, which is one of my favorite songs, is the Edison Cavani song. Give it to Eddie Cavani. Pass him the ball and watch him score all the goals. I love that so much. I'll sing that like just walking around. What's that?
We haven't sang. Oh, how good is the Maguire song, dude?
That's true.
The Maguire song is so good, and we never ever get to sing it.
Because we're complaining.
And his head is still massive. It is still massive.
Yeah. Fucked up Leicester for Manchester. His head's fucking massive. Harry Maguire. Yep.
Boys, I love this karaoke session, but I gotta go catch a flight to come party with you rascals next week at the bar. Are we back at the bar?
Well, so you'll have to pay attention to the social media, and announcement will be forthcoming. No, we got to
for you, man. That's an alley-oop for you.
We got to string it along. So yeah, right. Pay attention to our social media, Gerard, just like everyone else. Safe flights.
I don't even get the big scoop. That's messed up.
All right, boys. It. Later, Gerard.
Man.
All right, Carter. So we talked through some of our favorite songs of yesteryear, and we talked through Nottingham Forest. I guess my last question for you is where, we were kind of, I think we were both kind of had tepid expectations for Manchester United. Basically, we expected something similar to last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the outset, top 4-ish, and maybe a trophy or a cup final. Do you think that these first 2 matches, a poor performance against Wolves that results in a win, and then one good 45 that I think against Tottenham?
Yeah, I think the most. So I was talking about the good 45. We ended, I think, the first half with 23 or 27 touches. I think they outpossessed us by marginal numbers.
We outtouched them in the box by a lot.
Yeah, and then we ended the game both on 32 touches in the box, I think, and that is pathetic. That is so irritating.
Yeah. And we basically tied them in XG because we talked about him, but we had Rashford had a free header that should have gone in the net. Bruno had a free header that should have gone in the net, and then there was a handful of other like around the box shots. Like 1 or 2 of them should have been on net, and then Anthony hit the bar, or hit the post. So but that was all. I think there was one chance we had in the second half, but most of that was in the first 45.
Yeah. So, I mean, that reminds us of last year. How many chances did we have? I mean, Bruno created 119 chances last season, and we couldn't score.
It was embarrassing.
It's awful. Basically only scored mostly on chances that Rashford created for himself, which is fine, but we need some other help. Points wise, it's 2 games. We have 3 points. People ahead of us have 6 points. It's not the worst thing in the world. If we lost both games, that would be really bad. I think I don't know. Cups are different, right? Cups, because some people are playing weaker squads. Some people are not. Just the teams aren't up for it. They're not used to playing that many games. They get tired, whatever. I still think that we could be bad and win a trophy. Like, I think that, we weren't better than City or Arsenal last year, but, we got the one trophy, and Arsenal a better team, but they didn't get the trophy. Like, you don't have to be the best team to win a trophy necessarily. You got luck, you've got circumstance, fitness, all that. Like, there's a lot of things that go into trophies. Where the season is like, it's consistency. And if we're consistent like this, then we don't make top four.
That's right.
We don't make top four if we play like this all year. I mean, Brighton's gonna clatter. I mean, all these other teams, Newcastle clatter us, Brighton will clatter us. I'm not feeling super confident about Forest right now because they're fast. Like, they're good.
They've
not
got
good,
breakout
but they're at least
speed.
and that with our center backs right now, depends on the space. But there are a lot of teams that I've watched, that look like they could maybe beat us. Even if they didn't win their game, they played another team. They look like Sheffield does not look that bad. Like there are teams at the bottom where I'm like, if we can't score goals, 100 shots, just don't score them. It's like, God, like, I don't know. I'm worried. Probably more worried than I've ever been, I guess, because you expect it to be better because the coach has time and the players have time for the coach, blah, 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 blah. We get players who are improvements in areas, and we're worse, which seems to happen every time, every year. Like when Maguire came in and he totally like shored up the back line and conceded like 30 less goals or something like that than we conceded the season prior. And we're like, well, if we fix attacking, how could we not, be top 3 in the league? And next season, it was worse. And I don't understand how that keeps happening to us. Yeah. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I guess I think the talent gap in the Premier League is narrowing. I think the bottom teams are better than they used to be. But I'm not at panic yet, but I'm certainly worried about top 4. I think we're like out of the Premier. I was obviously it was stupid, but I was like hopeful that we had like a potential for a Premier League title push this year. Yeah. I think even before the season, we were thinking that we're still a year off from our prime window, and that window might be shorter than we thought. I said, Casemiro's 31, I think he's turning 32, and Bruno's 29, turning 30, and so that window, those positions are hard to replace. If Casemiro doesn't get fit, and he did last year, he started out slow, and we got him late in the transfer window, and then he came good. But yeah, I'm worried. So I want to do one more segment before we leave. This is completely ripped off of the Dan Lebatard Show, and I really like it. So I'm going to try and do it in advance of the matches. This one just based on rolling out a new segment. We're going to have to do this like a Tottenham looks like game after the match. So I know that Carter, I know that you've heard all these already, but I want you to react and laugh just like you're hearing them for the first time. So for the audience, I'm gonna share screen. Let's see if this works. This is like a new segment, so we're just rolling it out. How do we look? We look good. Can you see, Carter?
Yeah, I can see.
All right, Ange Postecoglou, the manager for Tottenham. Does Ange Postecoglou look like your dad's friend who your mom hates?
Yeah, actually, it looks very much like a person that my girlfriend introduced me to. That is that person, almost exactly.
Excellent. All right. Does James Maddison look like an auto theft specialist in a heist film?
In a bad heist film, yeah.
Yeah.
Like absolutely. A straight to TV one.
And maybe he's got like an insane like an insane Irish accent that is like unintelligible. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, or they'd give him an American accent that he can't do.
Oh, that he can't do. Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, last one. Does Richarlison look like a Grand Theft Auto character from the video game in one of those loading scenes when you're waiting for the game to start and you just see like an image of this guy throwing
this specific image? Yeah. I would say he'd probably have the bandana half mask.
Yeah,
if it was Grand Theft Auto, but That's a great picture.
Like
if I was Richarlison, I'd have that framed like in my house. Like that's a great picture.
Absolutely. All right, Carter. Closing thoughts. Where you said we're not at panic, but you're worried.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Don't want to be. I hate those people that like want the team to do bad so they get proven right, and podcasts and YouTube channels are full of those people. Like, how do they spend their time? Like, I don't know. Like, that really irritates me.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But I am worried.
Yeah, me too. But I do think we get the win against Nottingham Forest. Old Trafford's still a fortress. And with that, you've been listening to Red Devils Advocate. This is the official podcast of the Miami Red Devils. I'm Adam. I'm joined every week by Carter, who's the president of the Miami Red Devils. An announcement will be forthcoming about our watch party for Saturday, so pay attention if you're in the Miami area to the social media, and we will announce where we're going to be at for next week's match against Nottingham Forest. With that, thank you to Carla and Elizabeth for production assistance. Come on, United.
Come on, United.